Hello and welcome to Prime Code Media. My name is Sana Mapena. In this video, I'll be discussing the CSS Box Model concept. I'll also show how the CSS Box Model can be used to structure the layout of HTML elements. And to do that, I'm going to use an HTML web page which I've created for this discussion. It is a blank web page in that it only has a boilerplate as well as an empty style sheet. I have already opened this web page inside my browser. Let's just quickly check it out. Here it is. Let me just refresh it to check if it's not breaking. It's working fine. So this is the web page that I am going to use for my discussion of the CSS box model concept. Let's start by taking a look at the elements that make up a CSS box model. First, we have content. Content is the most inner part of a box model. Content can, for example, be in the form of text, for example, paragraphs and headings, or it can be an image or images. The next layer is padding. Padding refers to the area around the content. That is the area between the content and the edge of the border. Next is the border itself. The border goes around the padding and content. And the most outer part of the box model is the margin. The margin is the area outside the border. This is the area between an element and other elements. To further our discussion, I am going to add a div to my web page right here inside the body of my web page. So here is the div that I have added. Let me save it right here. Next, I am going to inspect my web page to view the div that I have just added inside the Chrome Developer Tools. What you are looking at right here is the CSS box model. This is called the box model because CSS treats HTML elements as boxes. You will see the box model every time you right click on an element and select inspect to view that element inside Chrome Developer Tools. You can also open Chrome Developer Tools by coming here to these three little dots and then click on them and then select or go to more tools and then select the developer tools. That way you can also open the Chrome Developer Tools to inspect your web page or to inspect the elements of a web page. Now let's take a closer look at this div. At the moment there is no content inside this div. It's empty. It has a width of 1350 pixel and a 0 pixel height. So the fact that it has a 0 pixel height is the reason why it is not visible on our screen. I'm going to give it a 200 pixel height. Once I'm done, you'll see it will for the first time be visible on the screen. Let me give it that 200 pixel height, 200, and then I'm clicking enter. When I hover over it right here, you will see it's highlighted inside our screen in blue. So for the first time, we are now able to see our div. Why? Because we have specified the height and we've put it at 200 pixel. Now we can see it, unlike earlier when it had a 0 pixel height, which made it impossible for us to see it on our screen. You can apply styling directly inside the box model as I just did, or you can do that inside the element dot style area right here. What I like about this is that if you do it inside the box model, it shows how the syntax looks like here, so you'll know how and what to write in your code editor if you want to apply that styling permanently. Let's say, for example, I want to apply that styling, the height, I want to change the height uh, after adding it inside here. As you can see, it shows the syntax here, so I will be able to say, okay, this is how I am going to write it, and this is the correct way. This is some sort of kind of you can say a test of how you can apply styling to your web page. So the height is 200 pixel right now, and the width is 1350. I'm going to change it to 250 to 200. I'm going to change the width to 200 so that we have a square box of 200 by 200 pixel. But before I do that, it's important to note that while at the moment this width is specified as static pixels, it can also be specified as percentages. If, for example, I come here and change the width and say the width is for example, let's say 50% instead of pixels, you'll see when I hover over here, that blue area is now half of the screen. This is because if I say the width is 50% and I specify the width in percentages, it means that the div is going to be 50% of the viewport. So if you are viewing this div on an iPad, it will be 50% of that iPad. If you are viewing it from a smartphone, it will be 50% of that smartphone. So that's what it means when you specify the width in terms of percentages. So you have two options. You can either specify the width in static pixels, and you can also specify it as percentages. Now let's specify it as static pixels, and then I'm going to give it a 200 pixel size right here. Let me do that. I'll say the width is 200 pixel. Now, as you can see, the blue area, we now have a box of equal sizes, a square box of 200 by 200 pixel. In addition to the width, let me also give this box a background color. So I'm going to give it a background color. So this is the CSS property, background color. And let's just give it a red background color. So I think red is fine. Okay, now that box has a height of 200 pixel, a width of 200 pixel, and a background color which is red. Now, in addition to the width and height which we have already specified, we can also specify if the box has a border or not. So if we say the border around this box is solid, the border will come out with a default size. Let me show you. So I'll just say border solid. So by just specifying that the border around this box is solid, the border comes with a default size of 3 pixels, as you can see it here. And when I hover over here, you can see around the red box the color of the border. It is also important to note that the border doesn't change the size of the box. However, we can change the size of the border. For example, I am going to change the size of the border, the size of the entire border around this box to, let me give it a 5 pixel size. Okay, let me say border width. So the width of the entire box, or the width of the border around the box, will be 5 pixel. Now, as you can see, Now the border around this red box is much bigger than it was earlier. And even if you come right here, you'll see that the default 3 pixel that we had earlier has now gone, is now cancelled out. We now in its place have a 5 pixel border, which is this border. As you can see, even here it looks a bit larger than it was earlier. When it comes to changing the size of the border, we can also take things further and give the 4 sides of this box different sizes. We can do that by, for example, coming here. I'm just going to cancel out this here, border solid and border width, and then underneath here I'll say border top. So I'm changing the size of the border at the top. I say border top will be solid and the size will be 5 pixel. You'll see right now at the top of this red box there's a border and it's a 5 pixel. And then let's move to the right of the box. I'll say border right, the border will be solid, and then let me give it a 10 pixel size. The border on the right is larger than the border at the top. Let's move ahead and say border bottom. It will also be solid, and the size will be 15 pixel. And then the left, border left, it will also be solid and the size will be 20 pixel. Now as you can see, the red box has a border, but the size of the border differs in terms of the sides. So the top border is 5 pixel, the right border is 10 pixel, the bottom border is 15 pixel, and the left is 20 pixel. That's all well and good, but this is a roundabout way of doing this. So we can achieve what we have achieved here. We can create a border like this without writing so many lines of code, and we can do it by using a circle shorthand like so. Let me cancel out everything here. I'll cancel out the styling that I have applied, and then I'll show you how you will do it much quicker. The first thing that I will do is that I'll specify the border style. I'll say border solid, okay, and then I'll go ahead and specify the sizes. Okay, first I'll say border width, and then I'll say 5 pixel space, 10 pixel space, 15 pixel space, and finally 20 pixel space. Now we managed to create the border this time around without writing many lines of code. What we can also do with borders is that we can specify different border styles for each and every one of the sides of this box. For example, we can come here and say for the left border, we'll say border left, border left, we'll select border left style, and then say, okay, we want it to be dotted, only the left of the border. And then you'll see that only the left side is dotted. And then we can say, go further and say border top, uh, border top style, and then say border top style. We want the border top style to be what can we let's say dashed. Okay, and then as you can see, it's now the top is dashed. And then let's move on to the right and say border right style, let's say double. As you can see, it's now different. Those two lines there form the border, which is different from how it was earlier. And then lastly, let's say border bottom, border bottom style, and then let's say groove. Let's try groove and see how it looks. Now as you can see, now the red box has a border around, but the styling of the border, the style is different for each side of the border. Right now, this box is empty. There's no content inside here. But if there's content inside, we can specify padding. Okay, so which refers to the space between the content or text and the edge of the border, or where the border starts. So to show how padding is specified, I am going to add a paragraph inside the div. So this is the paragraph inside my div, and then I am going to add just a simple paragraph and say this is the CSS box model concept. Okay, so this is just a simple line that I'm just including as content inside my p tag. Next, I'm going to go back into my browser. Obviously, when I refresh here, everything will just disappear, but we are left now with the paragraph that I have just included. If I come here and select the paragraph, you will see when I hover over here, it gets highlighted in blue. So it is 1350 pixel in width. It takes up the entire width of the screen, and it is 18 pixel in height. So this is the paragraph. The padding around this paragraph at the moment is 0 pixel. So before I show you how I am going to specify padding, I want to give this div back its previous styling. So I am going to give this div its 200 by 200 pixel width and height. So it's going to be the height. Let's start with the height, 200 pixel, and the width, let's put it back at 200 pixel as well. And then let's also give it back its background color. So we've given our div its previous styling, that is the 200 pixel height and the 200 pixel width, and we've also given it back its red background color. Now, as you can see, the padding around the content is still at 0. So let me go back and select the paragraph. Now, as you can see, the padding around the content is still at 0. So that is why this text is right here on the edge of the inside of this red box. So let's give this content a bit of a padding at the top there. Let's give it a 20 pixel padding. 20 pixel. You'll see after giving it a 20 pixel, the content moves down. So there's now space between the content and the edge of this box. Let's also give it a padding to the left. Let's give it a 10 pixel. Now, once again, there is now space right here, and this is because we have given it a 10 pixel space on the left. Remember, as I explained earlier, padding refers to the area around the content, and this is the area between the content and the edge of the border. What you might have already noticed is that when we increase the padding or space between the content and the edge of the box becomes larger. For example, let's give this content a padding of 50 pixel here. You'll see that now the box is larger than it was before we gave it that 50 pixel padding at the top. Let's give it more padding to the left here. Let's, for example, give it let's make it 100 pixel. You will see now that there is a larger space here between this left edge of the box and the content, and the box has become even larger than it was. We can even further give it, let's put it at 300 pixel. Now you can clearly see that the red box is bigger than it was when we started when it was at 200 by 200 pixel. So now the space on or to the left of the content is larger, and when I put the mouse pointer right here, you can see the padding gets highlighted in brown. Finally, I'm going to show how you can use the CSS Box model to design the layout of a web page by recreating this design. So it's a 3 equal size boxes with solid borders of different sizes around them. The red box has a 2 pixel solid border. The green box has a 4 pixel solid border, and the border around the yellow box is a 6 pixel solid. For this one, I'm going to have my code editor and the browser side by side. So I am going to refresh to remove everything right here. And then inside my code editor, I am going to remove this paragraph because we are not going to need it right now. And then I am going to copy this div and paste it twice so that we have 3 of them, like so. And then I'm going to give them class names. The first one will be red, and the class name for the second one will be green, and the class name for this one will be yellow. Okay, and then I'm going to go into my style sheet and target these 3 divs. Okay, inside my style sheet, let me refresh here to make sure that this page is blank. Okay, cool. Now inside my style sheet, I am going to target the 3 divs. The first one that I'm going to target is the red one, and remember to target a class, you first put a dot before the class name. Okay, so the first one, the class name is red, and then I'm going to follow this up with a set of curly braces, and then inside here, this is where I am going to put in my declarations. This is where I'm going to define the styling that I want to apply to the div. Now the first thing that I want to do, I want to give the div a height of 100 pixel. Let me give it a height of 100 pixel. 100 pixel, and a width of 100 pixel as well, and a background color will be red. Let me save and refresh to see if what we have added to our web page is rendered correctly. Let me hit refresh. So there we go, we have now this red box inside our browser. Now let me go ahead and include the other two. So now the green one, this is the class name. Before the class name, you put the dot. Remember, very important, a set of curly braces. The height again here will still be 100 pixel, and the width will again be 100 pixel, and the background color for this one will be green. Okay, so I am going to copy this because everything is the same except the color and the borders, which I will also include. I'm going to paste this here and just change the class name. Here the name is yellow and the color is also yellow. Okay, let me refresh. So we have these three boxes stacked on top of each other. Now we are going to include the borders. The border for each of these is going to be solid. So the border style is solid for all these boxes. All right, and the border width for the red one will be 2 pixel. 2 pixel. Okay, before I go ahead, let me check if all is well. Great. So the red box now has a border around it, and it's a 2 pixel border. Okay. All right, I'm just going to include the other borders for this one. Okay, border again will be solid, and border width for this one will be 4 pixel. And now the last one, which is the yellow box, the border is solid, and the width, the border width will be 6 pixel. Now great, we have three boxes, red, green and yellow. They have borders around them. The first one, which is the red border, the red box has a 2 pixel border. The green box has a 4 pixel border, and the border around the yellow box is 6 pixel. Now what we want to do is to make sure that the boxes, all of them, they touch each other by their corners. So the first thing that I am going to do is to try to move the green box, move it to the right, and move it to the right enough so that it touches the red box by its corner, so that these two boxes touch each other by their corners. Now to do that, I have to do some calculating. The box, the red box is 100 pixel in size. They are equal in size. It is 100 pixel in size. So I'm going to have to move the box, the green box, 100 pixel to the right. But that won't be enough because the red box, apart from its 100 pixel size, which is the size of this red area, it also has what a border which is 2 pixel in size. So it will be 2 pixel for the left and the 2 pixel for the right. So it's 2 pixel by plus 2 pixel will be 4 pixel, and then the 4 pixel plus 100 pixel, which is the size of the red area, the total will be 104 pixels. So which means I will have to give this green box a left margin of 104 pixels for it to touch the red box by its corner. Let's see if that's what we will be able to achieve. So I'm going to give this green box a left margin, margin left of 104 pixel. Okay, save. Let me refresh. Now we have managed to achieve that by putting the margin left at 104 pixel. That has moved the green box to the right, and it is now touching the corner of the red box as required, as expected. Next, we want to move the yellow box also to the right so that it touches the green box right here at the corner, so that the green and the yellow touch each other by their corners. Again, for that to happen, we'll have to do some calculations. First, this yellow box is 100 pixel in width, so and then we'll obviously have to move it twice, counting the area where it is. It will move here by 100 pixel, and for it to move here another 100 pixel will have to be added. But on top of that, remember, apart from the area, the yellow area being 100 pixel, this a box also has a border which is 6 pixel in width. So which means that we will have to say 100, which will move it to here, plus another 100 which will move it to around here. That will be 200, and then we add to that the 6 pixel on the left and the 6 pixel to the right of the box. Now that's 6 plus 6, which is 12. Now 12 plus 200 is 212. So 212 should move the yellow box to the right and make it touch the right, the corner of the green box. Let's see if we'll be successful in that. Let's give it a margin. Again, a margin left of 212 pixel. Okay, let me save. And refresh. There we go. Now we have managed to move the yellow box right from where it was area to the right, and it is now touching the corner of the green box, and that is also the case between the green box and the red box. So these three boxes are touching each other by their corners. With that, we've come to the end of our discussion of the CSS box model concept. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and to click that bell icon to get notifications when new videos come out. Until we code again next time, take care. Bye bye.